Hey, less lethal people. So I'm out here today and I want to talk to you a little bit about some controversy and stuff that's going on with less lethal. And it might be a long video and I might be long-winded. So I'm out here. I got myself a little cigar, a nice glass Pinot Grigio, and I want to just talk to you guys like I would talk to anybody else that was in front of me, whether it be a friend that was talking to me about less lethal or a colleague or anybody else. So lately, there's been a lot of controversy about a couple of companies out there that are charging certain prices for their less lethal launchers, and people are piping up saying, hey, this is too expensive, that one's too expensive, for that price I'll get this one, for this price I'll get that one, so on and so forth. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the way I see it. A lot of people now, with the less lethal community, it's growing. And we have a lot of things today that we didn't, and it's growing fast. We have a lot of things today that we didn't have a year ago. We have a lot of things we didn't have 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and 10 years ago. And when people started this kind of a long time ago, the OGs, even before me, they were pretty much just using paintball launchers. They didn't have too many things out there that were geared just for less lethal, and they were modifying them or doing whatever to them. And that was expensive, number one, because some of those launchers are expensive, paintball launchers. And then you either had to get the skill and do it yourself, or find somebody and ask them to either do it for you or pay them to do it for you if they were willing to do it. So we have graduated since then, and technology has advanced, and companies have seen ways to make money and seen a need for this. And we have now specifically designed less lethal tools, launchers for that specific situation. Now, this community that we're in is not nearly as big as the firearm community. If you look at channels out there, that's saturated with different channels. But I will tell you this, for those of you that are not into firearms, because whether you live in a place that you can't own them, so you don't watch those channels, or you just can't own them, or whatever, or you don't want to own them for the safety factor with, people in the house, children in the house, everything's respectable, and you wouldn't know what's going on in that world to compare. But I kind of do. I'm kind of on the cusp in between both worlds, and I follow what's going on in both. I choose to lean more to the less lethal because I think there's more of a need for it, and I'm going to get into that why. And I think there's also more benefits to it than there is just lethal firearms. Not that I'm saying I don't think you should not use fire. I'm all for it too, and I do as well. So I just want you guys to know that. That being said, though, there's plenty of times I go out and I just carry a less lethal, or there are places I go where I can only carry a less lethal. I always have a less lethal on me, always. So no matter where I go, I have a less lethal on me, and I think that's very important. So back to the topic, price. A couple of new launches are coming out, or have come out, and people have been arguing about the price. Some are too expensive. This one's too expensive for what it is, so I'll get that one. That one's too expensive, so I'll get the other one. They have no business charging this. They can make it for that and sell it. So I understand capitalism, and I understand everybody is going to sell something probably for even more money than it is technically worth. That's capitalism. That's the place we live in. That's just the way society is. I'm not even going to say our country. That's that way in every country. It's all across the board. People want to make the most amount of money for their work and for what they have and what they sell. I get it. But sometimes I hear comments out there like, hey, that's so expensive, I'll just buy a real firearm. And I'm going to address that in this topic here that I'm talking about. So number one, in the firearm world, they have a lot of different firearms at different price points. So you can buy a 3.5, 4-inch barrel, 9mm Taurus for about $200. You can buy a Same thing, a high point for about $150, and everybody scoffs at those, and they're no good. But most of the time they work pretty good, and they're affordable for somebody who that's their price budget for, or for somebody that wants something that they don't have to worry about being taken away, or if it's by God forbid it's used and it's confiscated, or God forbid you left it in a truck and it was stolen and you used it as a truck self-defense tool. So you have those. I'm sorry if you don't like my stogie, but I like it, and it's Saturday afternoon, and I am going to enjoy my stogie. And like I said, I'm talking to you as if I would talk to any of my close friends or buddies, and I'm trying to have an afternoon with you guys and hopefully help you see this. Many of you do see it. The next thing is you can move up from there, and you have a mid-range points where you're between like $400 and I'll say $800. That's a big range, but $400, $500, $600, $700. You could get a Glock, you could get a Smith & Wesson, you can get I won't say, well, some Kimbers you might be able to get. Then Kimber's a little higher end on some stuff, but you have companies out there, CZ, Walther, all excellent companies, all reliable firearm companies. Also 3.5, 4-inch barrel, 9mm, or whatever, 45, whatever caliber you choose. Whatever bullet you shoot from a Taurus 3.5-inch barrel is going to pretty much come out the same as it would out of a Glock 3.5-inch barrel or whatever. It's the bullet that's doing the damage, right? You're paying for the quality, the reliability, the trigger pull, all this other stuff, and so on and so forth. Then you go up the ladder from there, and you might have Colt, and you might have Dan Wesson, you might have Kimber, like I was talking about before, and then you even go up from there and you have your thing like Staccato, which is like basically a $4,000 or $5,000 double stack 1911 that's shooting the same 9mm as you would in your $150 high point, your $550 Glock, or your $3,000 Staccato, whatever it is. So you're paying for a fit and finish. You're paying for a name and reliability and security. It's no different with less lethal launchers. You have companies out there that are really good and inexpensive, like Umarex, and you can get yourself an Umarex for between, I'd say, $100 and $130. You can modify it a little bit. It's typical plastic shell, pop metal underneath, very reliable. Maybe it's a little big and gawky, depending if you choose an HDR 68 or whatever, but that's on the lower end spectrum. Then you have some middle end spectrums, like an FSC, and that might be like $299, $300, and you have to do a little bit of work to that to get it up to where you want, but you can modify that from middle of the road power all the way up to pretty decent power depending on what you're looking to do to it, and you can add on to it, just like a lot of firearms. And then you have your other companies like Paradigm, Grimberg, where your price goes up and you're like $700, and even Burner, some people feel that it's pretty pricey, but I find Burner not to be too pricey. I find between $350 and $550 is their price point. They're not $600 and above, and we're not talking about buying accessories, we're talking just the launcher. And then same thing as with Grimberg. If you're going to buy the launcher for $650 or whatever it costs, you're still going to want to buy an optic. That's going to be another $200, and then or a light for underneath. So you have to really, we're just talking the launcher itself. Any type of hobby, I don't care if you're into less lethal, firearms, motorcycles, sewing and crocheting, there's always add-ons to stuff. Like my mother was into sewing machine. You can add on and add on and on. So we're talking just a launcher. Now, it's no different. You're paying for a feature. I'm going to use the Byrna CL as an example today. I see people saying that this is very expensive. I agree that it costs a decent amount of money, but I think it's worth the money that they're charging for it. I also think the Grimberg gavel carry is worth the money that they're charging for it. They're two different things, and when people say, hey, I'm going to get this over that, or I'll just wait, if you have a certain budget you have to live in, then you have to choose what you could afford at the time, and nobody can tell you that. But that's you personally, that's your budget, what you can afford to spend. The Byrna CL offers something no other launcher has ever offered. It is the smallest, most compact launcher of a decent sized caliber, something new, completely new, 61 caliber, which so far every one of us that has used it and tried it has proven that the 61 caliber is extremely efficient and extremely effective, especially with chemical rounds. It actually, in my opinion, is better than the 68, my opinion. So they're offering something, and when you pay a certain price, you're paying for the special feature that they offer, that they put into R&D, research, development, design. You're paying for the smallest, most compact launcher anybody can carry. It's that small and that easy to carry. You can even carry that if you carry a firearm. You can even carry that in another pocket or in a separate place along with the firearm. That's how, so to me, there's no excuse not to have a less lethal when that's the option. And that's how, one of the ways you can justify that price. Grimberg gavel carry, for those of you that complain about the price, what goes into his launchers is, and I don't know the man, I don't even have one yet. I ordered one, I'm waiting for it, but I know from the research I did, when you do 3D printing like he's doing, it's not 3D printing on a little $600 machine that goes back and forth, $1,000 machine. These machines are SLS printers. It's required to have a whole setup with like a glass beater, a cleaning station, a polishing station, a finish station. It's a huge process, SLS printing. And the cheapest one that I've seen, that I've looked at, starts at $52,000 for one. So you're talking a lot of specialized equipment that goes into this. Then you have metal components that go in either a CNC machine, and they're CNC made, mills, lathes, maybe MIM, metal inject molded technology. So a lot of money is spent for the equipment just to make this it could be over $1 million in equipment that a shop has just to get these launchers mass produced or more, plus the research and development to get you a $600 launcher. So there has to be some sort of a understanding here, all right? And it's not like something that's stamped out overseas in Asia where it costs them literally $1 or $2 to make each one, and you're still paying $100 for the thing over here. And in most of those factories, they're not just printing out those launchers, they're printing out a bunch of other stuff because they're contracted out by a bunch of other companies. So they have one area for Umarex launcher, for HDR 50s, one area for something else, one area for something else. So that's how we justify the price here. You're getting something specific and special that really fits a small niche. And does the Byrna CL fit a small niche? Nah, not really. It fits a big niche because everybody could carry that. Whether you are a person who carries a real firearm or whether you're a person who doesn't carry any firearm, but you need to have something for defense. It covers everything. Grimberg gavel carry, that is compact. It's not subcompact like the Byrna CL, but it's compact. And it also has something the Byrna doesn't have. It has a tremendous amount of kinetic power behind it, which is more than adequate if you're not using chemicals or you can't use chemicals. That's where that launcher shines. So you have different areas. All right, this is not about chasing the dragon and buying every new launcher when it comes out. You need to know what the right launcher is for you. Is it something you can carry every day, everywhere? That's the two most important things you have to realize, because to have the thing and just keep it at home, if you're allowed to carry it, is pointless. I love the Pistelli X68. I have worked out a way to carry that thing for kinetics, but it's not it's very difficult to carry that and a full-size firearm. It's very difficult to carry that and something, and a Byrna HD or a Byrna SD or a Byrna LE. It's difficult. It's difficult to carry a 10 millimeter or a 9 millimeter and a Byrna or a Pistelli or whatever. But now with the Byrna CL, we don't have that issue anymore. And probably we're not going to have that issue with Grimberg's new launcher when there are more available, because now we're paying for a certain thing, a certain quality that hasn't been invented yet. So that's what I want to say on that, okay, as far as price goes. So for me, is $650 worth it for Grimberg Gavel Carry? Absolutely. Is $550 worth it for me for a Byrna CL? Absolutely, all day, every day, because I know wherever I go, I'm going to have something with me to protect me. I don't need the latest, greatest every time. I need to have the one thing that I can afford, or even if I can't afford it and I have to splurge a little, at least I know it's useful. It's not useless sitting at home. It's with me all the time. And I'm going to train and learn to use what I carry and works for me. So if I carry a 10 millimeter, I'm going to learn to practice with my 10 millimeter 1911 and learn to use that all. I'm not going to go out tomorrow and buy a Glock, and the next month and buy a CZ Nocturne and this and that and the other thing. No. I'm going to become proficient and use what I have. Same with the less lethal. I don't need to worry about what everybody else is doing. I don't need to run out there and buy the latest, greatest thing. I need to pick the one that I'm going to carry, and I'm going to make it work for me no matter what. And you can make them work. You have to train differently with them. Some are good for chemicals only, and you need to hit in a certain area. Some are good for kinetic only, and you need to train to hit in a certain area with that. So we don't want to keep chasing the dragon. So now let me get off my soapbox on that. Let me go to the next thing that is been on my mind and kind of sticks in my craw a little, and that's where people say, well, I'll just buy a firearm. You do that, and understand 99% of situations that occur do not require a firearm. And if you're there and you're in a situation that does not require a firearm, but you're not able to get out of it with your words, running away, or with your hands or your fists or whatever, and you need to rely on something, and all you have is the firearm, you're at a losing battle, because the legal ramifications are going to be outstanding. So next time somebody says, hey, I'd rather spend $500 on a Glock rather than $500 on a Byrna CL, well, would you rather spend $5 million in lawsuits and legal fees because you only had the $500 Glock and you didn't have the $500 Byrna? There's no common sense behind that, I'm sorry. Especially in today's day and age. Every bullet that comes out of a firearm has a potential lawyer attached to it. That's it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Whether you're justified to use it criminally or you're not justified to use it criminally, you're going to be getting a lawsuit. And if you have to fire that thing more than once, and there's a good chance you may be looking at 3 lawyers coming after you after the legal system is done with you. Which brings me back to freedom. Everybody talks about freedom. I want the freedom to have my firearm. I want the freedom to... Freedom is being able to go out, move around, and do what you want to do with peace of mind. Peace doesn't mean peace to everybody, love and peace. Hey, I'm not going to hurt you. Peace is peace of mind. Being able to go to bed every night without having to worry about where you're going to come up with those lawyer fees, or if they're going to get $5 million from you, or what your next court case is going to be, or the next hearing you have to go to in 6 months from now. Okay, that's peace of mind and that's freedom. Peace of mind is when you go to bed at nighttime with peace of mind and you can go to sleep every night. So I'm really tired of hearing people say, well, I'll just buy. If that's your mentality, you probably should not even own a firearm, whether it's your right or not to. Because it's such a closed-minded, ridiculous phrase. I mean, it's like, I'd expect to hear somebody say that in the 1950s. I would hope that we've evolved with statistics and case studies and everything else, that we've evolved to be a little smarter than that today. And I'm sorry if I'm ranting, and I really don't care if you don't agree with me, because I have to do at the end of the day what works for me. And I know I have a lot of people out there that are hearing me and do agree with me. All I could tell you is to come up with that logic that, oh, it's the same price. No, you could buy a firearm for $150. The same price you could buy an Umarex for. It has nothing to do with the price, guys. It has to do with the peace of mind and the tool in your toolbox, not using a hammer to put a freaking screw in. Because once you have a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail, even a screw. So I'm kind of ranting here, and I'm kind of giving, my 2 cents on the whole thing. But those of you that don't want to follow my advice or don't want to believe what I'm trying to tell you, you don't have to. You have the freedom to do whatever you want. But just remember what freedom really is. Freedom is peace of mind, because I promise you, the first time you use your firearm, whether it's justified or not, they are confiscating it, because there will be an investigation. Now you won't have it. And if all along you were thinking, well, I should have got a less lethal, now I don't have my firearm to help me if there's a problem, at least they won't take that from you, because you'll have that if they had to confiscate your firearm. Next, you may find out, I wish I had something that was a little less powerful than my firearm, because, I might have been able to get out of that situation and not had to call 911. Anytime you use a firearm, you got to call 911 for the person that you used it against and for yourself. You can't just shoot the person and walk. Even if it is just, and they're trying to kill you, you must report it and stay there, and you must call 911 for that person. That you have to do it. That's it. And if you don't do that, you're going to have even more problems, even if you're the victim. So I'm ranting here, I'm going on, but it's more of a wake-up video. And if you are into less lethal, it's a great thing. Nobody's asking you to use it as a substitution for your firearm. Nobody's asking you to replace your firearm with it. It's a great tool in addition. And some people, and for 99% of the problems, which is what most of us are going to encounter, if we encounter anything, it's going to be able to be solved without the firearm. And it's going to save you a lot of money, and you're going to have a lot of peace when you're able to go to bed every night with peace of mind. So, guys, I rambled on enough. My stogie went out. Now I got to relight it, enjoy it, and have the rest of my wine. Guys, I'll talk to you later. Everybody stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy. God bless, and enjoy.